And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. Glad to have you with us today. We've been absent for a couple of weeks. As I'm sure most of y'all know, Hurricane Helene, as you can see behind me, is devastating. Trees are not necessarily devastating. When I say devastating, I'm talking about whole communities gone, washed away. In my area of western North Carolina, it's bad. Not downplaying it all. I don't know what you've seen on the media, news outlets. I've been right in the middle of it, and it's bad. 14 days now. Well, this will be the 15th day as soon as darkness gets here tonight. Without power, without running water, with no cell service, no phone service, no nothing. But we're surviving. We're doing well. Our home here on our farm, our actual home, our house, we received minimal damage. We had some pieces of lattice blow off of a deck and things of that nature. But during the morning of that storm, I even got my family away from the windows. It was, I thought a tree limb from somewhere was getting ready to come through the windows. It was bad. But we, here on Cross Timbers Farm, we were blessed beyond measure that all you have to do is look around in our communities and our towns and see the devastation. People lost everything they owned. Their houses washed down rivers. Many people has lost loved ones. And we've been on our knees praying daily for these people. I've had a lot of my friends reach out to me and say, hey Darren, are you okay? And I'm saying, we're fine. I still covet your prayers, but pray for our neighbors. They're in bad shape. We've got a lot of the communities and people in North Carolina, and these communities have all banded together. It's amazing what they've been doing. We've got roads gone, bridges gone. It's been devastating. Here on our farm, as you can see behind me, our fences for our fields are in bad shape. Our timber that we had in our woods is destroyed. It looks like a fighter plane went over here and dropped cluster bombs. There's very few trees standing, and the ones that are about ready to fall. It's dangerous to be in here sawing, so I'm keeping away from the widowmakers and the trees that are about ready to fall. I've got enough wood here and trees down to saw to keep me busy for a year or longer. For the last week, I've had a chainsaw in my hand almost daily. We had to cut our way into our natural spring that we have on our property for water. We cut our way into that, and we've been hauling water from our spring because we have really good water here on our farm in natural springs. A lot of our neighbors don't. We've been using the ATV and a trailer and 55-gallon barrels to come get water for our neighbors and haul it to them to make sure they have water. We have some elderly neighbors. I've been checking on them multiple times a day. It's just been a once in a lifetime storm. I was told by a rescue worker here that was in Katrina in New Orleans in 2005, and he said this storm is as bad as what Katrina was, or maybe worse, because of our mountainous terrain. We're not prepared for hurricanes up here in these mountains. Who would ever think you're going to have a hurricane, a Cat 5 hurricane hit in the mountains? It hit up against our mountains, and it was almost like my gloves are the mountains. Here comes the storm, and it just sit there and finally lifted over. I mean, destruction's not a good enough word. It's bad. The worst hit areas are anywhere along rivers. Our rivers, we were already at flood stage before the hurricane ever even got here. It was dangerous then, and we've had over probably 20 to 25 inches of rain. Before Hurricane Helene got here, we were already at flood stage. We had hard rains for days before Hurricane Helene even got here. The ground that saturated, that wet, even if you weren't near a river, made the soil soft, the soil loose. All the trees came down. As soon as some wind hit them, there they go. The roots, the ground was so soft where the roots were, there was nothing good to hold them. It's put our hay season on a small hold, as you can understand, and I pray you forgive me for not being able to upload any videos or anything for about 2.5 weeks now. We've had no power, still have no power. I found some batteries for the camera and all. I'm able to do this today while I'm out here sawing some trees, but I've had no way to upload anything. I did upload one short. We only got cell service on our cell phones back about 5 days ago, and it's spotty. You only get a little bit of signal for a short window, and then it goes off, and then several hours later it'll come back on for a short window, then goes off. You can't hardly upload anything or download anything. It's just you can send some text to family, make a phone call right quick. But all my family's good. A quick shout out, and during a disaster like this, you see people's true colors. You see the heroism come out in people. And I have one shout out, and really a bunch of shout outs. I have shout outs to everyone that's reached out to us through messages on our videos, comments in the videos, saying they're praying for us. I really appreciate that. Pray for our community. A special shout out to Mr. Steve Carver from Carver Equipment. That is the FarmMax dealer that we bought about all of our hay equipment from, our baler and our hay mower. How many dealers could you go to and buy equipment from them, and 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I don't even remember how long it's been now. It's been a hectic, stressful week, so forgive me for not remembering the exact times. How many dealers could you go to and buy hay equipment, and several years later, you're in the middle of a disaster, and they reach out to you to provide you assistance? Unsolicited. Just say, hey, reach out to me. He said, hey, reached out to me, and within a few days, his assistance arrived. Man, I'm telling you, that's a loving, caring heart for someone that is hundreds of miles away from you, but will reach out to you because you were their customer and help you in a time of trouble. Steve Carver, God bless you. A good Christian man, and I can't tell you how much that means. We really appreciate it. It's been hard. My wife's a trooper. She would have been a good pioneer wife. Man, we've been cooking over a camp stove and over a campfire in the backyard. She's washed clothes in a big wash pot over a campfire with a boat paddle, boiling water and washing clothes and cooking and helping her neighbors. And she's just, I'm telling you, she'd have been a good pioneer wife. She's a trooper. We're hoping to cut hay in about maybe a week and a half, and that's dependent on the availability of diesel fuel. We had days and days and weeks where fuel supplies were really limited in our area, and you were only allowed, the stations that did have gas, you were only allowed a $30 limit on how much you could get, and that's fair. I do know, I've heard through the grapevine of some local farmers that roofs blew off their hay barns and things of that nature. Their hay supplies for the year was soaked and ruined, now getting moldy. So we're hoping in the next week or two, our hay fields, our main hay field, the test plot, is coming along really good. We're gonna give it about another week of growth. We're going to cut those fields, hopefully, dependent upon the availability of fuel and the weather, so we can get some hay to some of these people. We'll take our time and cut and bale this hay and donate it to those farmers that's lost all their hay supply for the year. It's sad, but we're going to do our part and pitch in and try to supply some hay to some people that really need it for the winter. They've cut hay and baled hay and bought hay and things all summer, and now it's, from what I hear, a lot of them, their hay's gone. But we're going to do our part to help them get their hay storages back, at least somewhat, for winter. We'll haul and deliver it, whatever we have to do. So stay tuned. We'll be back with some videos soon. I hope you understand that we have no power, no cell service, no internet, nothing. Living quite primitive, cooking on a camp stove and flushing toilets out of a bucket with water, and just pouring water into the toilet tank, and kind of living primitive, but hey, we're good. God's good all the time, and all the time God's good. Just because you're a Christian don't mean you don't have to go through the valleys too. The storms will come. We're here as well. But the difference is we have someone to look to. Someone that will watch over us, protect us, love us like no other. And God's good all the time, and all the time God's good. Yes, even in this destruction and this storm, God's good. He's good to us, and we're going to share that love as such as Mr. Steve Carver did from Carver Equipment. Reached out to someone like us and said, hey, I'm here for you. I'm going to send you some help. I know you're struggling. I can't say enough about that. Just out of the blue, Mr. Carver reaches out. How many dealers could you go to that would, years down the road, hear you were in a bad situation, in a disaster area, basically, and reach out to you? Not many. And I'm glad to call Mr. Steve Carver my friend and brother in Christ. So that's important. That's important. That's stuff you will never ever forget. I could go on and on about that, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. So your prayers are very much coveted for us as well as our community. I can sit here and tell you what's happening in some of these communities all day long, and it ain't going to describe it. You'd have to see it. It's bad. And but mountain people are tough, and we'll get through this. We're prepared here in the mountains for snowstorms and blizzards, and we're not prepared for hurricanes. It's really taken our power companies and phone companies and all of our utilities really hit them hard because we're not prepared for this kind of stuff like that. Same as like the coast of Florida is not prepared for blizzards and snow, and we are, and they're not. If they got bombarded with a blizzard down there, it'd be devastating. They're not prepared for that. We are. We're not prepared for a hurricane. And it devastated these mountains. Thanks for being with us for this short video and this update. We'll be back with you soon as we get some utilities for baling and cutting hay. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. God bless you and your family. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Let's get back to running a chainsaw.